What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel and another video. Today we actually are working on the 335. For once, I know the E30's been the main topic for a while, but I'm excited to get this thing working again. What happened was the car threw a serpentine belt, and if you know anything about N54s, you know that that's a very bad thing and it's very problematic, which you wouldn't normally think it was, but it is for these motors. So today I'm going to be going over what happened, why it happened, and how to prevent it for yourself. But first things first, we need to wash it. It's been a few months that it's been sitting outside, uncovered, and the car's pretty dirty. I don't know if it comes out on camera, but it's filthy, and it deserves a good wash. So let's do that, and then we'll pull it in the garage, get it jacked up, and start tearing it apart and show you guys what exactly happened. Alright, you guys, the car is clean for the most part. It's about as clean as I'm gonna get it. I'd like to get it detailed after this, but for right now it's about as clean as I'm gonna get it. So for step one, we're gonna jack the car up, put it on jack stands. I'm gonna take the underbelly pan off, and I'm gonna take the front bumper off just so I don't damage it or somebody runs into it or anything like that. After we do that, I'll show you guys what happened to my serpentine belt and where my serpentine belt went. So let's get started and jack this thing up real quick. Alright guys, we got the car up on jack stands. We got the fender liners removed. We took the front bumper off. We took the other fender liner out, and we took almost every under tray off, basically to the back of the transmission. We got the valve cover off. We got our tow hook installed here so we can support the engine when we have to take the subframe off. And then we'll probably wind up having to pull the intercooler just to get a little bit more room at the front main seal and the front crank pulley. Now, if you're wondering what exactly happened, well, my serpentine belt shredded itself into about 1 million pieces. This is what came out of the under tray, and there's probably another half a belt still wedged in all the pulleys. And if we look under here, let's see if it'll focus. If you look under there, you can still see the rest of the belt. I can't get it to focus. So after the serpentine belt shreds itself on these, basically, I think this is just N54 specific, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. The serpentine belt shreds itself and then gets wrapped around the crank pulley. And the way that the crank hub is shaped, it basically wedges the belt through the front main seal into the oil pan, where once it's in your oil pan, it gets picked up by your pickup tube for your oil and basically clogs that, which then starves your motor of oil, and then you lock your motor up. Now, if you're lucky, which I think I was, you're at relatively low speed, low RPM, and basically how I knew it happened was my power steering went out and then my battery light came on. So I knew that it was this immediately, so I shut the car off immediately, and I think only a little material got stuck in the front main. So I'm hoping that I saved the motor. It didn't lock up on me or anything. So I think the motor's fine, but it's just going to require a lot of maintenance to get this thing back up and running. Now, there's two big reasons that this happens to these motors. One, the oil filter housing gasket and oil cooler gasket are notorious for leaking on these things, which after the oil leaks, it leaks down onto your belt, and then once your belt gets wet with oil, it basically just falls apart, and then that's what causes it to explode into a million pieces. The other reason is just age. I've noticed that it's about 30,000 miles and then people kind of have issues. Mine was on here for 40, even though mine was caused by oil. I would say replace your belts every 30,000 miles to be safe, because the cost of a belt and pulley set from FCP Euro is I think 200 bucks, and I'm well over $200 to fix this thing now. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about it, or you're on the edge of replacing it, or you just don't know. I would definitely replace it immediately. Do not mess around with it, or you will be paying a lot more money than just a belt set. So there's a lot of stuff we have to do to fix this, including pulling the front main seal, pulling the oil pan gasket, pulling both front CVs, replacing all the gaskets in there, making sure that we clean all of the belt material out of the bottom end of the motor. I will also be pulling the valve cover and checking the valve cover, because sometimes pieces of the belt will get stuck in the timing chain, which will ride up and make you skip timing on a cam gear, also destroying your motor. So it's just worth checking while you're in here. So we'll pull the valve cover. I got new spark plugs, new engine mounts because the subframe will be out, new axle seals. So there's kind of a lot of maintenance while you're in there to do. That's really not bad anyways, especially on this car where it has 118,000 miles. It's just good to do it now anyways. Now I'll be going over all of the maintenance on this thing and doing all the maintenance. There's not a lot of info on doing the XI oil pan gaskets because the CV axle actually runs through the oil pan. Great idea, BMW. So you have to pull the CV axles on both sides. I'm gonna replace the axle seals anyway, so I'm gonna pull both of them, and I'll service the front diff while I'm at it. But I will show you guys, basically, I'm going to try and make a good DIY. Obviously, I'm not a professional mechanic, but I'm going to try and make the best DIY as I can, so that you guys at home who want to do this yourself can kind of have access to maybe a little more knowledge and watch me screw up first so you don't screw up. But anyways, you guys, I just want to make this quick video kind of describing what happened, why the car was down, and what the plans are. The first thing we'll tackle is the oil pan gasket, which will be the next video after this, and that'll be the brunt of the labor. We'll be trying to drop the subframe, motor mounts, all that, axles, to get access to the oil pan gasket. And then once we do that, we'll move up the motor to basically the valve cover. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to check your belts. Go out and check them right now. Don't let them fall apart. Don't let this happen to you. Just replace your belts. It's so much cheaper. Alright, you guys, hopefully you enjoyed that video. It's kind of a short video, but I just want to make an intro into what we're going to be doing with this car and what happened, and hopefully how to prevent it for yourself. If your belts are showing any signs of degrading, even if they're not, but you haven't changed them in a while, definitely go in and change them. The belt kit is way cheaper than having to basically tear your whole motor down just to clear out this belt material. So stay tuned for the next video. It will be out, I don't know, maybe next week. Just pulling the oil pan, trying to get all the belt material out, and the process that goes into that. So stay tuned for the next video. It will be going over the oil pan gasket and the replacement of that and getting all the belt material out of the bottom end of the motor. Hopefully you guys liked that video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.